Hey guys, so in this video, as you can see, I'm installing a brand new hood latch to latch cable, and the reason being is because I broke the one that came with the car, and I will cover those details in a few minutes just in case you guys want to avoid that from happening. And it is not uncommon, and there's some tips you may want to pay attention to because this can happen. And right now I am attaching the passenger side hood latch cable and finishing off that install with a cotter pin so everything remains in place. And you want to make sure that you test how everything works before you commit to closing the hood for obvious reasons. This is the driver's side hood latch, and you can see there I added a spacer to the tab, and this is something that is very important, and you want to pay attention to that in particular to avoid breaking that tab. Something that unfortunately is not very hard to do. And what I'm doing here is installing the other end of the latch-to-latch cable to the driver's side hood latch. And I am basically testing the tension because the whole idea is to have these things release simultaneously when you pull the lever. You don't really want to open or release before the other. It's not a big deal, but it's not something that I wanted, so I kind of tested a couple of times. So basically what I'm doing here by testing is removing any unnecessary play between the two latches. So whenever I want to open the hood and I pull the lever inside the cabin, I just hear one click. So here I'm doing the final test. I am closing the latches and you'll hear one click. That's it. Okay, so even though I was able to repair this tab, and I think it's pretty permanent, I added a spacer in there, which is a fiber washer, just because that's all I had available. So anyway, even if yours is not usable anymore and you have to get a new one, I would not discard the original one. Why? Because let me show you something. This one can actually be used. I may install this in the future. And what you can do is, even though you would have your brand new cable there, you can connect this, and just like this one here, I would do it on the other side of the little pin here. I think there would be enough room to do that. And then once that is installed, you can use some cable ties to make this a little more factory-like. What I would do is I would run this one, find a spot somewhere around here or even behind this hose in there, and add an emergency, or panic as I call it, hood release handle. As you can see, there's plenty of material here to go all the way in there. And I don't know if you can see it from here. Back there is part of the, see that bright spot there? That is part of the extractor. So again, there's no reason to discard a cable. If you want to use it for a panic situation, then great. And there may be other ways to attach this. I was just thinking kind of out loud here, but I think there's enough material here to really mimic this one, and then just go under there and do a little simple pull handle. So at least you have some way of releasing this latch by using the manual. Let's call it an override. So I just wanted to point that out in case it helps one of you guys. I don't know if you notice these arrows, strips of masking tape with an arrow. What I was doing is, this indicates where the release for the hood would be. And the distance I wanted to measure because one of my viewers had made a comment that he was able to get his hand in there and release the latch. I would love to see that in action. I know I'm dumb enough that I tried, almost got my hand stuck in there, and I'm all alone here in the garage without a phone, and I'm like almost panicking. So yeah, I do a lot of stupid stuff. So anyway, let me put the hood down to show you this a little better. And I'm not gonna latch it. I just wanna demonstrate this so you can see here it's open. The distance from here to about this area is gonna be about 11 inches. And with this close, I mean, it would be almost another 3/4 of an inch down. There's hardly any room to get your hand in there. And even if you could, to reach this thing, I mean, there's no way I can do that. So same thing for the other side. From here to about here, it's at least 7 or 8 inches. Same thing, you have the transmission in here. And of course, you know, I have about 3/4 of an inch extra space. If this was close, it would be almost impossible for me to get my forearm in there. And now once you get past that, you have to reach in here. I can barely feel the release. And actually, I'm pushing it a little bit. I don't know, don't call me negative or anything. There's no way that, at least that I can do that. So let me open the hood again. So again, using this angle here, there is a hole here. Usually has a plug, and I'll reinstall that later. It's a plastic plug. What I think the factory said that you can actually reach in here with a long screwdriver, push that thing out of the way. But even from here, you have to reach somewhere in here so you can push this down to open the hood. Again, I don't see how that is remotely doable. On the other side, it's a little closer. The hole is here at the bottom, and the release would be right there. Now I thought about making something, actually using an old wiper arm, try to modify that and make a tool. Let me show you what kind of a screwdriver you would have to use. You would need one of these. This thing is roughly 26 inches long. I think you would have to modify it because don't forget the hood would be closed, and you would have to somehow reach in here fit it through this hole after you push the plug out of the way. And then what you want to do is keep moving this into the engine bay and somehow position this. Again, you would have the hood, so this would have to have some kind of a bend here so you can reach this portion. And then, and I don't even know how, you would have to pull here so you can, in the hopes that you can actually push that thing down and release the hood. I am pretty convinced at this point that that is almost undoable. So, going back to my panic release, I think using an old hood release cable, the latch-to-latch cable, as long as it's moving freely, you would have broken tabs. It doesn't matter, you don't need them. You can position this in such a way that it would come through here and somewhere under the brake booster, which again, if you were to remove the extractor screen, you can actually reach in there and try to pull it. I left the one that I made out of just stainless steel wire. Again, this is all this is, and when you pull it from the same location, that would actuate the release. To me, that's the only feasible way of doing this. Please, if one of you has a secret tool or a way to do this without breaking stuff, because that would be the whole idea, right? Comment below.